Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the most magical podcast in the Midwest, the Magic in the Midwest podcast, starring J.B. Michaels, a USA Today best-selling author, and his more successful wife, Ashley Michaels. And now, your hosts. Thank you, announcer. You screwed that up a little bit, but that's okay. You said J.B. Michaels, then USA Today bestselling author. You should have said USA Today bestselling author first. But anyway,
Sounds like he just did that.
He's an idiot.
He
That announcer
really is.
Is a moron. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back for episode number 67 of the Magic in the Midwest podcast. These podcasts are brought to you by a few different things. Okay, the many books of myself, J.B. Michaels. The latest book, The Festival of the Vine, which is part of the Mac and Millie Mysteries series, which is very popular. So check those out, ladies and gentlemen. And then also, this podcast is also brought to you by the subscribers to our Bandcamp exclusive episodes. So you go to magicinthemidwestpodcast.bandcamp.com and you could get some extra content, like a lot of extra content.
Like a lot.
For as little as $3 a month.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Are you serious?
I
That's
am
the price?
very serious. Like, so serious. And then we also... I also sell insurance, ladies and gentlemen. So if you need anything, particularly something we've been selling a lot of lately is life insurance. If you want to know more about that, please let me know. There's a lot of cool things to learn about that particular policy. And then, of course, through the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, we have met lots of great people. And one of those people happens to be part of a travel agency called Magical Mouse Travel. And who might that be, Ash?
Her name is Emily, and she is a friend that we've become friends through the podcast. And you guys, she's awesome. She's super knowledgeable. She's down to earth. She's just great to chat with. So if you're looking to book a trip, you should contact her. The best way to contact her is via email, and her email is emily@magicalmousetravel.com, and she'll do all the things for you. So answer all of your questions, help you with fast passes when, if that becomes a thing again. But dining and all the things you have to do to get to and from the airport, and she can even come up with a customized itinerary for you. And it's all free.
Yes.
No charge, no obligation quote, and she's the coolest. So check her out if you're looking to book a trip. She does Universal. Did I say that? Universal too, and Disney Cruise Line, and she does it all.
Yeah. So please check her, Emily at magicalmousetravel.com.
And then if you do contact her, just let her know that we sent you over.
Yes, please let her know that we sent you, because that helps us and helps her see how well we are promoting with each other, right? We help each other out. That's just how things work here in the land of Disney podcasts. And she was actually
just at Disney. She just went back to Disney, so she, has the insider scoop. And why are you looking at me like that?
Ash's hair is in full poof mode.
I just had it up in a bun, and
the poof is
we were at the pool.
Real.
Maybe I'll post a picture on
it
Instagram.
Looks great.
Does it?
I really like
your
poofy hair.
Guys, I'm thinking about dyeing my hair purple. JB only thought it was a good idea because he thought I was joking. And now...
I didn't know you were actually serious, but sure, go ahead.
I think what I'm going to do is actually go back to white blonde and then use those color shampoos to kind of make it whatever color I want.
I fully support.
Anyways...
all of your hair endeavors.
Thank you, dear.
Yes.
But yes, Emily at magicalmousetravel.com.
Yes. So Ash and I wanted to return to Universal property for this podcast number 67. Isn't that crazy? 67. We're going to be 70 before you know it.
Wow.
It's crazy. We're just moving right along here.
Just chugging along.
Chugs and along, Anyway, so why is that face? Oh my gosh, she looks disgusted. She just looks.
I'm thinking of the
my
song.
If you gotta chug it, just chug it. What? Anyway, so I made a new song, guys.
It's horrible.
Country western song.
And it's called "If You Want to Chug It, Chug It."
Yeah.
What is it for?
Go
like
ahead
college
and chug
students?
it. If you want to chug it, go ahead and chug it.
That sounds. I hate everything
It
about
can be adapted to lots of different things.
Like what?
You know what I mean? Like,
No, I don't.
Anyway,
I don't think we should even explore that.
we're not gonna.
So what are we talking about in terms of? Universal?
Okay, so lots of news coming out of the Universal right now. So as you know, because this will be a big part of the podcast coming up in the future. Ash and I are big time Halloween Horror Nights fans, and Universal has made some announcements. Now, not every house has been announced.
How many? Half or not quite half yet?
I think a decent amount. I mean, maybe half.
Okay.
So
Do we know for sure there'll be 10 houses?
we don't actually.
Oh, okay.
So we usually, like the last couple of years, there were 10, the ones, that we had. But here are the confirmed houses so far that we could talk about. And then we'll kind of, give our thoughts on some of this IP as we go. Well, first and foremost, this is Halloween Horror Nights 30. So for reference, technically, right, it's not 30, because, it is technically 30. There were like 3 houses last year. Now, this was during the pandemic, but they were only open during the day, and they were socially distanced, and not a lot of people could even go to these houses. So they did bring a little bit of the horror back for probably predominantly locals and people that wanted to go.
Yeah.
Because obviously it wasn't a full Horror Nights event. So they had all the branding from, what was supposed to be Halloween Horror Nights 30. And they are now, going to reuse that. So obviously this will be really 30 at this point.
Right. Yes.
So now Jack Schmidt, Jack the Clown, has been announced as the, major icon.
Which makes sense.
Because,
30.
yeah, 30. And if you focus on icons, that's sort of, where you can really do, well, right? I mean, Jack has been around and, has popped up at many different times throughout the, Halloween Horror Nights. He was a big part of Sweet 16 and all that stuff, too. So, I mean, there's a lot of, cool elements and things that come into play. So Jack is back. And here are the official... Hold on. Sorry, guys. I was about to sneeze and now it stopped. Okay. So Beetlejuice is one of the houses. Okay. Now, Ash, what do you think about Beetlejuice, the property in general? We actually just watched Beetlejuice not that long ago. So what are your thoughts on Beetlejuice?
As a house?
As a house, as a property, a movie?
I think it'll be really cool, actually. I really liked, actually, the last year we were there, which was 2019.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Duh, hello. When they mixed in, like, Ghostbusters and things that aren't as, like, hardcore.
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference between that and Poltergeist, right?
Big time.
So,
Yeah.
I'm kind of, I don't know. Is it my, like, favorite movie of all time? No, it's sort of, like, has this cult following. It's not a movie that I want to sit down and watch, like, every month or anything.
Right.
But it's good. It's funny. And, I think it'll be, it will make for a cool house. Anything, Tim Burton.
Tim Burton, weirdness.
Yeah, it'll just be weird. I think it'll be a really neat house.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I wonder how many people they obviously there's so much makeup on him that it doesn't really have to look like Michael Keaton.
No, right, and Michael Keaton. I mean,
You know what I mean? So, but
I love Michael Keaton.
yeah, I mean, so good, interesting story about Michael Keats. Okay, when Mom bought into
I
DVC,
have to tell you. Okay, go ahead.
what?
Just whenever I think of Michael Keaton, I think of Multiplicity.
Yeah,
And I think about the
That
clone
goofy-looking
of
one?
the clone, and he tries to put like a piece of pizza in his wallet.
Yeah, that is
I
really-
always think of that.
She loves
That's
that.
my first.
it's a fun movie. So Michael Keaton apparently one of the guys who worked for DVC. We were waiting outside. Me and Mom were waiting outside to get picked up by DVC, and they totally forgot about us. He legit forgot about us. So I had to walk back in there and say, hey, we were waiting to get picked up.
I would like to remind you that you
Sign
did
up.
not have the sour end of that deal.
Well, whatever. So no one cares about your plight. But anyway,
I
so
think that was funny.
I don't have to fight on you tonight, do you? Usually you'd be
I'm just saying, I was,
On me.
again, a victim of poor planning.
right. Oh, come on, whiny middle job. Okay, so
I'm gonna let it go. You guys
Just
are
trying to bait
your
you.
family is not the best at planning.
we're really good at planning. Okay, so we were waiting, and the guy felt bad because he screwed up. So he started telling us like all these stories about who he used to like drive around and stuff, the parks, and one of them was Michael Keaton. And it was like in the 90s, like when he blew up, like when Batman came out. Like I guess he came to the Polynesian and stayed at the Polynesian, and he had a car like dedicated to him.
Right.
And this guy would bring him around places. Mm-hmm. And he said he was very serious. Like he said he wasn't super funny, and he kind of kept to himself, So it's kind of interesting how you hear different things about different stars. He said
Did they tell you who was like nice or?
he said Arnold Schwarzenegger was fantastic. Like he was really funny. And
So Michael Keaton
nice.
wasn't mean. He was just very
he
serious.
wasn't mean. He was just
Not super warm.
just kind of kept to himself, which is fine.
Yeah,
I mean, I
totally.
get it if you're, Batman. You know what I mean? Like it's sort of like
or
you're-
the
you're
star
so-
of Multiplicity.
or the star.
I mean,
But if you're Batman, right? Your fame is huge. You know what I mean? So I think it's just for him. It's like I'm on vacation.
I don't want to talk.
I
to
kind of
everyone
just
about,
want
No, I
to
get
be on
it.
vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So when Michael Keaton still makes a lot of great movies. I mean, he's still active and doing well. But yeah, I guess he was kind of more reserved. One of the other people he said, Whoopi Goldberg, was funny and stuff, was nice and funny. I can't remember who else he said. The guy from Draft Day, the owner. She was like
Oh,
dating Whoopi. He was dating Whoopi Goldberg.
oh,
What's his name?
I don't
The
know.
guy's name. I can't remember the actor's name, but the owner of of the
I know who you're talking
Cleveland
about. I don't
Browns.
know what his
in
name
Draft
is.
Day. Yeah, I think it's Anthony something or whatever. But anyway, so interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting side note about Michael Keaton. Kind of keeps to himself apparently. Not
Keep going. I'm gonna go.
super warm.
Charge my phone.
And then, of course, we have Beetlejuice. So I don't know, like Beetlejuice as a movie, we watched it not that long ago. It's strange, right? Because it's Tim Burton, and it's like just really weird. But I think the house will be fun. I don't think this is going to be one of those houses that's going to necessarily like terrify anybody, right? But it's still fun.
Well, I think it's better when they, like I said, when they mix in houses that aren't all, it doesn't have to be so extremely scary.
Right.
And so, I think it's nice to have a few that are
Right.
middle of the road,
Right.
more fun.
Yeah, so this one will be fun. This actually was, I think it was part of the tribute store last year. Another house that has been announced is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. which I find odd because they just did this house in 2016.
So yeah, I'm going to ask you about that. So they just did it. It's not like there's like a new
No.
reboot coming out. I mean, I know they've done some that haven't been very good. There've been a
Yeah.
few reboots.
Yeah.
None of them have been like super great. I mean,
Right.
I am not a fan of the franchise personally. It's just
Right.
not my thing. This is not a house that I have to do. I just know it. I'm not like a carnage chainsaw just cutting people up to cut them up. Like, let's put someone else's face on my face. Like, that's just not my deal.
I will say that when I went through that original House Texas Chainsaw in 2016, and we already talked about this. We just talked about this one in a couple podcasts ago. It was just not.
It was short.
It was gross. It was
Why do you
short.
think they're doing it? Just is it easy to do?
Maybe it is. You know what I mean? Because it's a weird branding. It's just weird.
Well, and you know what? I'm not going to knock it too hard. Some people, you know, if you're a horror fan, you probably like Texas Chainsaw. Just like, you know, I like Halloween, and by all means, like, the Halloween 4 house that we did was probably pretty easy. Not, you know, I'm not saying any of it's easy, but probably lower budget house. You just need a lot of darkness and then, like, a bunch of Michael Myers with knives. Like, that's pretty much all it was.
I have not seen any of those movies. I haven't seen the 2003 remake or any of the movies.
Did I tell you the story? We watched it at a friend's house, and her dad came down with the chainsaw.
No.
While we were watching it.
Oh yeah.
And I remember
You
I
did
was
tell me
like
that.
terrified to drive home that night. Like, I just, you know how, you know, where I was like, I
Yeah.
don't know, like 16 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember driving home after we watched it. Because, you know, that was at the age where you all like go over to each other's houses and watch scary movies. And I remember I had to drive home and I was terrified.
I think that, you know what, now that you say that.
It was the reboot, though. It was the Jessica Biel one that came out in 2006.
I think I know why maybe Universal is doing it, because out of no matter what, whenever you're in a scare zone, you're walking around a scare zone, if you the thing that gets the most reaction all the time is the chainsaw guys.
Yeah.
So they probably are like, this is guaranteed to kick butt because the chainsaws are going to be everywhere and it's going to scare the bejesus out of everybody. So,
well, and there's probably, you know, like you said, there's just a lot of iconic scenes, I think, you know, like the dinner table scene and just some really messed up. But, you know, it's really just not my, like when we went through the House of a Thousand Corpses, that's really not my thing either. Nothing against it. There's nothing wrong with that. I think there's a place for it at HHN, and there should be some houses like that. If they're just never my favorite for personal preferences.
Right.
So I'm not super excited about
on the Horror Nights site. So if you go to the Horror Nights site, there are 4 houses that have been announced officially, and there are 6 placeholders. So it looks like there will be 10.
Oh, okay. So what are the 4 we're going through then? We have Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, Texas Chainsaw.
Okay.
It says here on the Horror Nights website, it says, step into the dilapidated Texas home of the depraved, sadistic Sawyer family who welcome you with razor-sharp blades and a roaring chainsaw.
Yeah, and I'm sure, which makes sense. It's all about the house, and then they have, like, the basement, and, the, you know. It's just, yeah. Not a movie that I feel like you ever need to see if you don't want to.
Yeah, I really don't think you need to see it either. You know, it's really... Oh, and none of the scare zones have been officially announced yet either.
Oh, okay.
So,
no,
we're still early.
That's probably a good point.
We're still early.
Maybe they've done a few scare zones like that. Now they want to just, instead of that, make it a house. It's this chainsaw. It's
funny, though, because, you know, before you know it, it's going to be August, and then, you know, September rolls around and Horror Nights starts, which Food and Wine is already happening in Epcot, which is crazy to me. It's July, because it always used to be just October. It was like September and October, that was it.
Yeah.
And now it's like these things are, you know, more and more, they're just earlier and earlier these things happen. All right, so yeah, I don't know. you saw the movie, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like, it's not your thing, but did you, like, if you were to rate the movie, what would you give the movie? Like a C or a D?
I've only seen parts of the original, and then like I said, I saw that reboot. The reboot's not. I mean, okay. Also, I saw it like when I was 16, so the lens.
You're super scared,
right? I was focusing more on like how like that concept in general was just terrifying, and I had never thought about it before. I don't think the movie's very good. I think it's probably like a C. I don't know how much it deviates from the original. I don't think it gets very high marks from anyone. The original, I don't know. For me, I feel like a lot of times I can step away and say, this is how good the movie is, even though it's not my thing. I can't do that with this. It's just too far out of my reach. I don't know how to rate it because it makes me uncomfortable the whole time and not in a good way. Not like Halloween. Like, Halloween scares me, it makes me uncomfortable, but I like it.
Right.
Right. The Texas Chainsaw does not have that. So I don't know how to view that movie. Like, if we sat down and watched the original, I know for sure that at the end of it, I wouldn't be like, well, it was put together well and the plot was good. Like, I just couldn't do it.
No.
So I don't know. I mean, is it like a critically acclaimed horror film?
Nah,
or
no, not really.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just.
To me, it feels like messed up for messed up's sake. Like, here's like a really screwed up family that does this, and you're just supposed to be like grossed out.
Right. It's sort of like Hostel and Saw type of thing,
but less
torture-y, or is it?
No, I mean less torture-y on purpose. Like, meaning, the whole point, I think, people really write in and tell me I'm wrong, is that, like, the guy that's doing it is sort of, like, disfigured. And the family's sort of messed up, so they basically, like, capture people that are going through the town.
Yeah.
And, like, let him basically, like...
kill him?
And, like, use their body parts to, like, make himself feel better. So, like, he'll, like, cut off someone's face and put it on his face.
Okay.
So it's pretty
bizarre.
And people try and, like, get out of there, but everyone's in on it. Like, the sheriff is part of the family, so they're, like, going and trying to get out.
Oh, gosh.
But he, like, hangs people up on, like, hooks in the basement while they're still alive.
Oh, Lord.
It's pretty...
This is terrible.
Anyway.
Well, that's horrible. I'll be honest. I have no desire of going into this house.
No, I'll stay out with you. It's really just
I really don't care about it. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't need to do it. But anyway. Okay, so then a original house to Universal Studios is Universal Monsters, The Bride of Frankenstein Lives. So I guess this is supposed to take place after the sequel, Bride of Frankenstein, and she apparently lives. It says, "We belong dead. The last words of Frankenstein's monster when his bride rejected him. Now she'll stop at nothing to bring him back." So it's a great movie. You should,
see, and reading something like that, like that's just more my speed. I'm into that.
Yeah. So it's going to be. This was one of the ones that they had last year. So people really liked it. There was rave reviews about it. Kind of a cool original take on and kind of extension of The Bride of Frankenstein, which many people and Hollywood history critics and Hollywood movie critics say that Bride of Frankenstein is possibly better than Frankenstein, like the original. That it's
okay.
It's probably a sequel that's better than the first, sort of like Godfather Part 2, or sometimes that happens.
Right.
It is really good. I do really recommend that people watch it. And apparently the twist for this too is like, the bride is obviously featured in this, but I guess there's vampires involved. So I guess there's some sort of twist where involved. There's some vampires involved.
Oh, cool.
All
right.
So you never know. And then So that will be neat. I mean, I'm excited about that one. Here's the more of the. This time, the Bride of Frankenstein is stepping out of the shadows and taking her fate into her own bloody hands. The mate will have her monster, and the monster his mate. Enter the tower ruins, where Frankenstein's monster pulled the lever to bring down the walls and destroy him and his bride. Recoil in horror as she tries to bring him back at any cost, honing her diabolical genius one harvested body part at a time. Don't get caught between her and the brides of Dracula, who she captures and drains in hopes of reanimating her love. Cool.
Yeah.
See, that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just, to me, that's more fun than gross Texas Chainsaw. And then, of course, the big, possibly the biggest IP. Now, we don't know because there's 6 other houses that have yet to be announced. But the biggest IP, and one that I'm very excited about because they did really, really do a great job with other Netflix properties, specifically Stranger Things, especially the first year, Stranger Things season 1.
Yeah.
They have announced the haunting of Hill House. Which is based on the latest iteration of that, which is the Netflix TV show. It says, "Welcome to Hill House, a structure more alive than its ghostly inhabitants. Inside these walls echo the haunted footsteps of those trapped here for all time." So, first off, you know that this will probably be in the big, huge soundstage studio that like Poltergeist was in, or possibly Stranger Things. So it'll be built. Like, we know there's going to be a facade of Hill House, which will be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Says it stands like a brooding creature waiting for its victims. Enter the decaying remains of an aging mansion that lives, even if all who dwell there are long dead. Step right into Netflix's supernatural masterpiece, The Haunting of Hill House. Each unsettling room, each darkened hallway takes you deeper and deeper into your worst nightmares. Come face to face with the tall man, the bent neck lady, the ghost in the basement, and more. Enter the red room, and you may find yourself spending all of eternity listening to the sound of your own screams. Whoa, this will be really good. How did you feel? First off, let's go back to the source. How did you feel about Haunting of Hill House?
Well, just to refresh everyone, JB and I attempted to watch this the year it came out. I was too afraid of it. Yeah,
this is a joke, by the way. This ticks me off because she.
Let me tell the story.
Go ahead.
Not really that ticked off.
I'm mad.
Right? No,
I'm mad about it.
It's not.
I'm mad.
We started watching it. And
Sorry.
I was losing too much sleep over it, so I was like, I can't watch this anymore. It was like 2 episodes in. So then, on Friday nights, JB plays video games with his friends, because he's 12. And I always look for something to watch when I'm, so Friday night, something that, whatever. And I was just too intrigued by what was going to happen. So I made myself watch it by myself upstairs. And so I watched the whole season and didn't sleep a lot. But anyways, then the next year we watched it together. And I think it's so good. My only criticism of it is that the last 2 episodes in my mind should be kind of flipped. They're out of order to me.
Yeah.
You figure out everything you need to know, to me, that's important in episode 9. And then in 10 it kind of goes a little bit more like drama-y. I mean, the whole thing's a drama. Don't go into it thinking it's all like horror. It's more like drama and scary. I feel like it's drama first. I do.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I guess what I'm more trying to say is
context,
you have to go into it realizing it's going to be kind of a slow burn. This isn't just like,
It's a slower burn, but it's scary every episode.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, I think it's a lot about the drama too.
Right.
I don't know. I think it's
Right.
both. It's both.
It is. But yeah,
Because there were a lot of complaints, I guess, of people watching it, like just, I guess, with expectations. So I just think you have to be ready for what you're getting
Right.
into. But I think really stick it out. And there are some really cool things, like episode 5 or 6, I don't remember which one it is like it's like done in 5 shots.
it's really
like,
good.
They like recorded it like a play almost. Like some of them are super long, like 15-minute long shots. It's really
there
cool.
there are episodes that are absolutely brilliant. It's definitely worth watching. I would, definitely watch it. But like Ashley said, they didn't stick the ending for me. I was just kind of like,
There are some cool parts in the last episode. I don't think it's all like a trash fire, but it just felt
filler.
like
It was
when you
filler.
watch the 9th one, you're like, it kind of rounds out all of it. And you're like, okay, well, that's what the whole thing was leading up to, was this. And then they kind of used the 10th episode to like fill in like minor gaps. But it just felt, like they pushed it. Where I think they could have just stopped it at 9. Or they could have flipped the episodes.
Yeah, it's a bunch of filler. It's just...
I mean, you guys, JB was like super adamant about this and very passionate about his opinion. Most people that reviewed it didn't care about that, just so you know. You feel superior with your opinion.
No, I don't feel superior.
I'm just joking.
I have a right to my opinion just like you. So, I honestly,
Whoa.
the 10th episode, shush. The 10th episode
Attitude.
was terrible.
No, it wasn't terrible.
It was terrible.
No.
It made me not want to watch the next season, whatever that was, Haunting of Bly Manor or whatever it was. I was just like, why did they have to go this? Like, it was filler. And I that's what bothered me, is that Netflix ordered 10 episodes. The writers ran out of stuff to write about, and they filled up an entire episode with crap. That's what I don't like about it.
I don't really know if it's crap. I just feel like, right now what's super popular is the, like, let's talk about our feelings type thing, and that's sort of what the 10th episode is. Like, we know everything now, and now we're going to go, like, even deeper and talk about everyone's feelings about their feelings. Like, which is fine, okay? I'm not judging, but I feel like that's what it was. It just got a little too meta. You're sort of like, okay, let's move on.
Yeah, it was... it's because there was a contract that said we're having 10 episodes. We're doing a 10 episode order of Haunting of Hill House, and they couldn't do it. And I think that's what bothers me, is that like that was like sort of that's just kind of how things work sometimes with
Okay,
television.
so considering all that, would you say someone should watch it then? Or no, that totally ruins it? Don't
watch the
it.
first 9 episodes and then be done.
Okay, but does it round out everything? 100%? Do we have every single piece of information?
I was satisfied at the end of 9. I remember looking at you going, what is the point of watching the next episode?
So
I
Nell
asked
already
you.
had gone in, right?
Right, we learned everything.
Okay.
And I was like, Ash, what's the point of watching the last episode? And you were like, I mean, you should watch it just because it's the end.
Well, I wanted you to make up your own mind.
Right,
about
and then we watched it, and I was just like, I think what it did is it was sort of an epilogue, not even an epilogue, just like an addendum. You know what I mean? That was like,
I mean, in the end, I think all it is no matter what it is, it felt really strong at 9, and then you thought, okay, whatever's in this last episode must be
good.
really good. And then, it didn't stick the landing after that. You
Right.
kind of felt less into it. After you watched 10, you're kind of like, okay, great. No, I maybe this is an unpopular opinion, but we both felt that way. I not as strongly as you. Like, I still liked this. It was still good. I still watched it a second time.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's really, really good for about those, like, most of it is fantastic, like, excellent. And then it just, it's just, I don't know. For me, I'm an editor, like, in my head, Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I kind of
JB's
operate.
books, I mean, he's very strong. I mean, he's very strong in every aspect of writing, but very strong with plot. Very.
Right.
It just sort of comes very naturally to you.
Well, thank you. So
The
that,
only thing.
Oh, shut up, shush. So, like, that's what I think bothered me. It was
Yeah.
like, you know, it really messed with the momentum of the story, and then it just sort of like flushed it out to a point where
It wasn't needed.
it really wasn't needed. It was like deleted scenes that you watch on the Blu-ray, you know, and you're like, oh, I could see totally why they took that out. Like that entire episode was like that, you know. Or if you wanted to, yeah, but see, it was telling you it was contractual.
And
They
I
had to
also
sell
just
it.
want to say, too, I read an article, and I don't know if this is true or not, that the writers or whoever came up with the story, whatever, had done it in a way that they were sort of mirroring. It was supposed to be symbolic of, like, mental illness.
Yes. So if you look at it from that lens, it's
I mean, it's really
also really
powerful
cool.
when you watch it that way. So when I watch it the second time, I was sort of looking for that. Plus, I had, you know, the first time I watched it, I just watched it. And then I was reading articles and reviews about it, because I kind of do that. And then there was like an episode by episode guide of like all the ghosts that you miss in the background.
Yeah.
So I was looking for those too the second time around. But, you know, while I'm sitting here saying it's a drama, because it is, this is, I mean, I think it's very scary. Other moms I was talking to at the school were watching it, and they were saying how, like, they didn't sleep. I mean, like, scary things happen to the kids. And, I mean, it just, like, really the type of scary that it's just real quiet.
yeah.
And, like, things happen when they're sleeping. I mean, it's, like, terrifying.
Well, we have we have a great sound system. So when we watched it, there were creaks and things happening
Behind us. Oh my
above
gosh.
us, like everywhere. So it was really cool.
But I mean, some of the stuff that happens, like those parts in the movies where it's just quiet and things happen real slow, and you see like a doorknob turn and like something
Right.
float in. I mean,
Right.
it just like lingers on
Well,
that for a
that's
long
not
time.
right.
So if
Fuck
you're gonna
chick-
watch it, you know,
Yeah, it's
just
creepy.
Be ready. Creepy. I think that's a better. Yeah, it's unsettling for sure. I thought
Yeah.
about it when I went to bed.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna need some melatonin tonight.
Yes. You know, drug me up.
Drugs are the answer.
So now
I feel like we've lingered on
that being said, with Haunting of Hill House, we know that the house will be amazing.
I'll be honest though, I think it's going to be harder to pull off than Stranger Things because think about what's powerful about those episodes. It's like the long pauses. It's like the quiet, creepy, you know, with all the people in there with you. A lot of times the houses rely on, there's like a lot of noise and stuff happening. I just feel like I think it's going to be harder to pull off.
I don't. I think it'll be. I think
don't
it'll
care.
be.
Your opinion
great.
isn't superior to mine. I don't. Like, you just dismiss what I'm saying. I
You're
think it's a
an
valid.
idiot. Why you think it's gonna be harder to pull off?
I
Because,
just explained why.
Because too many people.
Well, it's the nature of it. I mean, it's always crowded in there. There's people in front of you, people behind you. It's just like, I think it's hard to do things quiet. And that's what's so powerful about the show.
I think, you know, it's, yeah, I guess you're right. It's interesting that you say that. I don't know. I think what
think
they'll
they'll just have to
do
be creative.
probably do a lot of, see, there are some houses that are more environmentally detailed.
I was going to say, what was the house with that one thing that we didn't really like with the scissors and those people that were like the tethered, you know, or the one, they're all standing there, there's like two of them, and one's the evil one, and one's the, like, us, or them,
Oh, yeah,
or
us.
whatever the heck it was called.
Us. It might
Like,
be
that was a quieter,
right.
kind of, but then it had that echoing thing. I feel like,
I think Haunting
know.
of Hill House, they will bring it. I think what they'll do is they'll have very detailed sets in rooms, and then they'll do, like, I'm sure we're going to walk down the hallway with the bedrooms, right?
yeah, yes.
And the doors. So, like, I think it might be more mood setting at first. So I think there's going to be a lot of detail and a lot of mood setting, and then there'll be I don't think you're right. It's not going to be jump scare, jump scare, jump scare. I think it'll be creepy.
And I think that's what I mean. I think that I hope they don't rely on that a lot.
Yeah,
and
I think you're
go
right.
with, detail. And there are some, like the basement things that's like super frightening and, not, please, what are you doing? Don't get super ticked at me. You guys, JB, when you do that, everyone can hear it.
They can't that far away. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, Haunting of Hill House, I think, I know what you mean, Ash. That makes a good point. It'll be dark in there. You know what I mean? It'll be dark.
Because think about how
Blue,
many of the
black
moments where
lights.
you're watching when it's like the kids are laying in bed and like some handle opens and then like you wait. And then
Right.
it like pans around the room and then it pans back and then you see like something sweep in.
Right.
And
right.
then, you know what I mean? Like you can't do that really. Totally. I mean, no, but the waiting part of that. So I feel like they'll just have to be creative with which parts they choose to do. But you're right. Like we'll walk down the hallway, we'll be in the basement, we'll be in the red room, we'll be.
I think they're going to rely. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of relying on like the environment and where stuff is going to come out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And if they do it in a way where,
No, I think it can be done well. They're just going to have to really think about what they're doing.
right.
Whereas, like, you take a house like Halloween, I always say, and all it takes is darkness and then, like,
Mike Myers.
and mask and the knife,
Right.
and that's it. That's all you really need.
Yes. I'm excited for it. I mean,
I think it'll be a really visually cool house.
yeah, you're right. I don't know if it's going to be the most like scary, but we'll see.
I don't know. It could be.
I think it'll be definitely creepy, for sure.
Could they find a way to get, like, the bent net, like, you to, like, just fall
Right.
down in front of people and stuff?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, that's what they'll do. It's a good
yeah.
point. Yeah. See, you're already thinking of ways where it's gonna scare you.
maybe they'll hire me.
Hire me. Okay, so some other things.
I'll be, what is that called when you, like, advise?
A creative consultant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from here.
There you go.
Zoom.
Perfect. Zoom me. So Revenge of the Tooth Fairy was there last year. Was one of the 3 houses. So it hasn't been announced yet, but that's a very big possibility. So Revenge of the Tooth Fairy could be one of the other houses. So I'm looking at a speculation map. So this is completely speculation, hence the word speculation map. But we do know that we did get photo confirmation from our friend who is in Universal like for the whole middle of July. She sent us pictures. Maybe we'll put them on our Instagram or something, of construction of some of the houses. And one of them is a billboard that says, "Welcome to Scary, Horror in the Heartland." So that's another original. Apparently there's a town called Scary, and we're going to go there
Okay.
and see what happens.
Great.
In the
I'm
town
sure
of
it'll
Scary.
be really,
Right. But that's confirmed because we've seen that. It's not confirmed officially yet, but we've actually seen the billboards.
right.
So, of things that they were building for it. Then we have Creepshow, which could be another IP. Show. I've never saw. Have you seen Creepshow?
No, I don't think so.
I think it's like an anthology type movie. I've never seen it.
No.
Then you have HHN Icons Captured is another possible house, which I'm sure will be just like a...
Well, that's kind of cool. I mean, that makes sense, right? Because it's
30.
30, so...
That would be really fun.
Yeah.
That would be really fun. Puppet Theater Captive Audience. That one hasn't been announced, but there's a... But that legit, no joke, Puppet Theater is part of a HHN featurette with Mike Aiello that they did last year, or maybe 2 years ago. Maybe it was last year. And it was all about the Puppet Theater house, but they never did it. They never actually had it.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh, yeah, I remember we watched
people
something
are... Yes, I'm fairly certain that's going to be one of the houses.
Okay.
And another one, speculation, is Wicked Growth Realm of the Pumpkin. So that'll be interesting.
Well, I like when they do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like Seeds of Extinction. I like that
Seeds
one.
of Extinction.
I like that one.
It was cool. It was a really cool house. So, it's all speculation at this point, but it could happen. So,
Those are like some of my, favorite houses where it's like something like plants come alive.
right, yeah, the
I
original
don't
houses.
like it.
I like those original houses too.
Scary Tales.
Yeah. Yes.
Seeds of Extinction remind me of, when you play Mario and those like little plants come up and get you.
Yes.
And I always think about it when I pull weeds.
Oh yeah, you gotta be careful.
Is this one gonna clamp
It's
my
gonna
hand
take
up?
over.
Yeah.
Could happen.
And then I'd never have to pull weeds anymore, but I'd be deceased.
Doesn't matter at that point. And then, so we'll see. We'll have a lot more HHN news as we go on, ladies and gentlemen. But,
So recap what the 4 knowns are.
Our Bride of Frankenstein Lives, Texas Chainsaw, Beetlejuice, and Haunting of Hill House. So there you
Cool.
go. Those are the officials. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, iTunes. What? Those are the same. I did that last week.
You say it every week.
I'm an idiot. Spotify, Deezer, Stitcher, wherever you guys listen to your podcasts. YouTube, like and subscribe us on YouTube. Share.
Although it's on your YouTube.
Share the podcast on
So,
JB Michaels'
That's
YouTube
not
channel.
helpful.
Right, JB Michaels' YouTube channel. Anything else, Ash, before we go?
No.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, from the Midwest. See you later.